Hey guys. Okay, so I've decided to do these little recordings because it gives me an opportunity to put information out there no matter where I'm at or, what I'm doing, because there's times where, I'm just really inspired, but I am not in a place where I can just start shooting a video right now. So this gives me an opportunity to not miss those messages and to get those messages out there. Okay, so I hope you guys don't mind. I'll still have the videos with with me, live videos, but this gives me an opportunity to give more information and just be a little bit more of assistance. So the reason for this particular recording is the video that I did yesterday on emotional connections. Okay. Some people found it a little bit confusing. So I wanted to go ahead and, demystify that, for those who it would be beneficial for. Now, what I was saying is, in that video, I talked about how the emotional body, when people feel this intense pull, it is coming out of the emotional body, okay? That our bodies have layers to them, like as far as our beings. This is why when you see a person's aura, it's a certain color, because you are actually seeing the energy of these different various bodies that they have. So a person with a really heavy emotional body with a whole lot in it, this is what can give a certain color into the auric field, things like that, okay? So what I'm saying is that in that video, what I am saying is that that type of intense pull is coming from the emotional body, and it is your emotional body and their emotional body being pulled to each other. The emotional body is not conscious, okay? So this is why it's something that you just can't explain. You can't really understand it. It's just a feeling, okay? So, but there's no conscious awareness of why you're being pulled to this person or what it's really about. The intensity is based on what is in the emotional body in you that is connecting to what is in the emotional body in them. But this is why I'm saying that it's something you don't want to trust wholeheartedly, okay? And this is why, because this is to give an example for people to really understand what this looks like. So say, for instance, you have two people, a man and a woman, they meet, and the attraction is just intense. I mean, extremely intense, okay? And they just feel completely magnetized toward one another. They don't know why. They don't really know each other. Well, what can be going on when emotional bodies are being pulled to one another? You don't know what the thing is that's pulling, but it's usually something that is not going to be a good thing. So this could be the woman within her emotional body has a lot of abuse, a lot of pain from abuse that is unhealed, and all of this energy is collected into her emotional body, okay? And the man has maybe a lot of anger from being abused, where he's really angry. And he has this built up, this rage of wanting to exact revenge somehow for pain that he's experienced from maybe being abused as a child. So then he has that in his emotional body, okay? So these two are drawn like magnets, but the relationship, as they play it out, he ends up beating her. So it ends up being a very abusive relationship, and she ends up being abused, and he beats her, okay, physically beats her. So this is what I'm talking about, okay? So the thing that was magnetizing them, why it felt so intense, so strong, and they're like, oh my goodness, this has to be the one. And then it turns out to be abusive, and they don't understand why. It is because the pain within them magnetized. So the whole attraction that they felt was not based on love, okay? This is what I'm talking about in that video about the emotional connections, understanding emotional connections. So they don't know that that's the thing that's really pulling them together. It's just a feeling. It just feels magnetizing. It just feels like home. It feels safe. It feels comfortable. Why? Because she has within her a certain comfort of abuse, meaning not comfort, of familiarity within her emotional body to someone abusing her. So someone who is in a place where in their emotional body they have something going on that will cause them to be abusive, then that will feel familiar. Do you see what I'm saying? So this is the reason that I'm saying what I'm saying about how emotional connection is deceptive. And this is the importance of knowing yourself at your core, knowing yourself on a soul level, and not taking connections too seriously that you don't know the full origin of that connection. Okay, because you can't tell what that connection is if you don't know. Those people who are having that intense connection through the emotional bodies, that can feel like a spiritual connection. Why does it feel like a soul or spiritual connection? Because the emotional body is also like an etheric realm. It's a light, airy realm. Okay, it's not something that is solid or a heavy, dense energy. It is light and airy, like the soul, like the energy of the space in being, things like that. So it has that light. It's occurring in the outer realms of the body, which is like in the auric field. Okay, so people in that that auric field can feel like the soul. It can feel spiritual because it's outside of the body. Okay, so the emotional body is not physically inside the body. It is a part of the layers of the auric field. So that's why it will feel spiritual. Okay, so this is what I was saying about also using all other faculties in determining connection and not just feelings alone. Because of that reason, that is the reason that most relationships don't work, is because people are magnetized to each other based on that auric field and what they have in their pain body. So this is how the woman who's been abused before ends up with another man who's abusive, because she's usually following her feelings about and the attraction and the spark and what she felt was there, but she really doesn't know. Okay, so this is why healing. Sorry about that. We had a little glitch here, but this is why healing is so important, okay? So this is why it's so important to do the inner work, because what happens when you do the inner work, you remove a lot of the things in your emotional body that has been stored up, collected energy from your experiences, things like that you've been through. You clear out your emotional body so that you're not being pulled to people that, where you're going to just connect with that emotional body. Now, what is happening with twin flames, or the so-called twin flames, is you're having a lot of times these connections that are based on this emotional body. So the reason that the twin flame connection is spoken of as a tool of ascension, it's a spiritual thing. Why? Because you're making these intense connections based on the emotional body, because this is trying to show you the things in the emotional body that need to be cleared. So this is why you have people that are being magnetized to these people that they think are their twin flames, but then it's turning out painful. There's a lot of pain that's going on within the twin flame community. There's a lot of people being mistreated. There's a lot of things going on, and we think that this is something spiritual, and unfortunately people have been misguided, misinformed, and misinstructed to believe in some type of fairy tale that this pain and us being drawn to these people. This is why you have people saying, well, I've had multiple twin flame connections. I've had multiple of these intense experiences, and that will go along with all the signs, synchronicities, things like that. I'm going to ultimately talk about that at another time. But what is happening is these emotional bodies are pulling people to people, and it feels spiritual because people do not know themselves on a soul level. They feel that their emotions are them. You can go back to the other video that I did on how to truly know who you're connected to understand what I'm talking about, when I say that. Because the only way to truly connect and make a real soul-to-soul connection is you have to be operating from a soul level yourself. Okay, so when you are operating from a soul level, you are in touch with your soul. You are the soul looking out through the eyes, and you're no longer unconscious in that way that you don't know who you truly are. When you're in that space where you know who you truly are, you know who you're truly connected to. You know when you're connecting from other places, and you're able to wait that out and see what is really going on with your connection. Okay, because otherwise you can be setting yourself up. You could be going into a connection that is just there to bring up something that is in the emotional body, and we have people getting stuck, where they're not actually clearing out the thing that attracted them to that person in the first place. And this is the reason they're stuck on this person. So this is why people get in a situation where they're magnetically drawn to someone they believe is their twin flame, but it's really coming from the pain body, as I've described, and with the situation with the couple, the example that I gave. But then later, as if that heals, then the attraction to that person leaves. Okay, because it was based on that. So then they're able to let that person go. But a lot of times, the reason people can say that it's a karmic cycle is because it's your own energy is your karma. It's not a such thing. You're not being punished. There's no retribution. There's no karma coming down on you. It is just your own energy. So the reason that it's a karmic cycle is because you are still in the cycle of your energy is still, you still have that certain pain or that certain thing in your energetic field of your emotional body. And so you're still operating from that. So you're in a karmic cycle of still trying to rectify or relive, or that same pain of that abuse or that same pain. So what happens is you just keep manifesting more situations that are identical. You keep manifesting being ignored, being mistreated, because you have to think about these things. Because when people say that this is my twin flame, right, my ultimate love, okay, let's think about what we think of as love. What is the ultimate love, right? It is caring for one another. It is being considerate of someone and someone being considerate of us. It is an exchange of love, okay? But how is it an exchange of love if someone is treating us a certain way? See, we have to look at what do we really think love is, if that's what we're saying is love, So this is where people have to realize that these connections a lot of times are coming from the emotional body, okay? So that, I hope that gives you guys a little bit more clarity on what I was saying in that video, for those of you who found it a little bit confusing. My style is I try to take really deep spiritual concepts and principles and truths, and I try to make them relatable to the real world, where we can understand how these things are impacting our lives, because that is the only way that it is truly beneficial. I could get up here, I'm telling you, I could get up here and talk, all over everybody's head and sound so spiritual and use big terms, and I could sit in a meditative posture, but how will that help us? We want to take these things and we want to bring them down. We want to bring the as above down into the soul below and bring that clarity so that we can see the reality of what we are creating, so that we can become the powerful creators that create what it is that we desire, not unconsciously creating love and relationships based on past experiences and pains and energies that have been stored up in our collective emotional bodies, but to clear that clutter and begin to create love that is flowing, that is beautiful, that is blissful, that is light, that is healing. Because true healing, yes, these connections that come along that are painful are healing us, because they're helping us to see some of the pain or some of the things that we have within us that need to be healed. But there's another level to that, and that is what I want to take everyone to. That is where I want us all to be. There is another level to that, where the healing is no longer in the pain, but the healing is in the love. See, it is healing when someone listens to us, when someone wraps their arms around us. We have a partner that holds us in their arms, and we can talk about, because I do that with my twin. Now he's not a crier, but I am. But just to have someone that can hold you in their arms and you can just cry about something that you need to release. You can talk about that pain that you had that time, and that is the kind of healing that you want, and that is what twin flame connection is. Okay, it's not the healing of let me hurt you so that you figure it out. It doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be that. Now, let me say, it doesn't mean that your twin flame, you won't have that stage. I did with my twin. There was no information available to me when we got together. We didn't know anything about twin flames. So the universe was just guiding us through our journey, and it was just nothing but synchronicity. So like when we would get away from each other, because we didn't have the concept of twin flames that would make us stay together. We would get upset, like, I'm done. Like, no. And but what would happen is the universe would create circumstances that would put us right back together that we could not control. So that's how our journey had to go, because we didn't have, like, see, now there's information that people have that are making them do that. But this is what I'm saying. Okay, I'm not saying that you don't go through things like that with your twin flame, but what I'm saying is they are there. It is not just a completely etheric connection. It's not. The twin flame connection is not a completely etheric connection that's never no representation of it in the physical realm. Okay? So that is that, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it and you understand what I'm saying about the emotional connections, and you take it to heart and really begin to, look at how you're being magnetized to people. Okay? So I wish you all the best. I hope you guys are having a fabulous, fabulous day. Bye.